Professor Quamar, and also thank you, Mr. Quamar, for hosting me for this very stimulus discussion event. So it is a good opportunity to explain my backgrounds for the book for that. As Quamar said, so then the book is covering the Turkey-China relations from the from the beginning of the Cold War and after the appearing of the two Chinas, basically. So it is also somewhat a diplomatic history book for the Cold War and afterwards. But also I try to analyze the whole scope of Turkey-China relationship from the beginning to until now. So there are different terms, different perspectives, and also there are many ups and downs between the relationship between the two countries. But also there are different perspectives also when we analyzing Turkey-China relations. When we look at Turkey and China, basically, we can say that in the current focus, these two countries are emerging or rising powers or emerging economies of the world. Particularly in the last 2 decades, after the formation of the G20, both countries are members of the G20 forum for leading economies of the world. And particularly after the 2008 global financial crisis, those two countries, Turkey and China, have become more important. Analyzing the relationship between Turkey and China have become more interesting because of this reason. Of course, are emerging or rising powers, but there are differences. China now is the economy of the world, just after the United States. So then there is a description of the G2 rather than G20. So that means the United States and China. So then China is going to a location being a main competitor or equal power with the United States, economically and then politically, maybe militarily. So because of that reason, China or Chinese studies have become more interesting after time being. When we look at Turkey, Turkey, of course, is an emerging power, but we can describe Turkey as a middle power or more important way, strategic or pivotal middle power. Of course, Turkish leaders, Turkish politicians are very ambitious. So then if they talk very ambitious way. But when we look at Turkey's capacity, material capacity, Turkey is a middle power, of course, leading middle power, strategic middle power. But at the end of the day, Turkey is a middle power. And if you look at the, for example, G20, there are two groups there in G20. In the first tier, top 10 economies, and the second tier, top 20 economies. Turkey is in the second tier, not in the first group. In that matter, we can need to describe Turkey as a middle power. There are some differences in terms of material capacity. Also, if you check the GDP growth rates and GDP of those countries, and basically Turkey and China, China is always on the rise, but Turkey's GDP growth and Turkey's GDP is not is on the rise automatically. So then, for example, in the recent years, there are some setbacks for Turkish economy, and there is a losing capacity for Turkey's economy. Anyhow, Turkey is also important as a strategic middle power, sitting is very geostrategic location in the intersection of the 3 continents, Asia, Europe, and Africa, and playing important roles in global issues within the G20 or other international organizations in that matter. Regarding that, so then Turkey and China are important players for current global issues, from security matters to environmental issues. Both countries have something to say. The other thing we need to underline, the People's Republic of China is a non-Western power from the beginning. So it is not in the earlier stage of the Cold War. The PRC was an ally for the Soviet Union, and then there was a Sino-Soviet rift starting with the 1960s, and then rapprochement with the United States in the early 1970s. But anyhow, China is not part of the Western political or security system. China is the others for the Western system. So we can describe China as a non-Western power. But when we look at Turkey, Turkey is a Western power, despite some debates, problems between Turkey and other NATO allies, between Turkey and other EU member countries, and some differences within the Council of Europe or OECD. Turkey, from the beginning of the Cold War, is a Western power and is a main shareholder of the NATO security alliance, basically. In that matter, we can describe Turkey-China relationship as a Western and non-Western countries' relationship in that matter. So this is another interesting thing. We need to focus on that. Also, the other thing for example, Asian studies or Asian description. So when we look at China, China is the main country in Asia. So we can call it East Asia, Northeast Asia, Pacific or Indo-Pacific. Anyhow, China is very dominant in Asia. So fixing its relationship with almost all Asian countries. So the main area of focus of China or Chinese foreign policy for decades is close neighborhood. That means Asia and East Asia or Asia Pacific in general. When we look at Turkey, Turkey sits in the western corner of Asia, but there is a debate in Turkey or in general in the world describing Turkey whether it is an Asian or European country, because Turkey has both characteristics, both Asian and European, and with Muslim majority nation. So in that matter, the Turkey is a trans-border country. There are different descriptions, but geographically and politically, but basically politically, we can say that Turkey is a part of the European, Western European political system. During the Cold War, Turkey is a part of the Western European political system. And Turkey, after being a member of NATO, also Turkey is a part of the main shareholder, one of the main shareholders of the NATO security system in that matter. But today, even today, also there is a debate in Turkey, for identical debate, who we are. Are we European or are we Asian or are we Middle Eastern or anyhow? So then there's another thing. So, but we can say that Turkey is a Eurasian, together with Asia and Europe, Eurasian country like Russia. But definitely Turkey is and economically also, Turkey is a part of the Western system in that matter, with some cultural differences regarding in these characteristics. So then we can say that Turkey-China relationship, both inter-Asian and both Asian and European characteristic together. Also, the other description of the Turkey-China relationship is on the cultural focus. China, in the past, before the communist rule, China was mainly a Buddhist country, and there was a Buddhist culture dominance in China. But also after the communist regime and historically, China is a part of the Confucius culture. So having its own values in Asian characteristics or Chinese characteristics in that matter, we can say that China and Asian developmental style, depending on ethical rules and other things, China is reflecting a Confucius cultural identity. Recently also Chinese Communist Party is eager to promote the Confucius culture, and also after the forming of the Confucius Institute as a cultural promotion of the PRC, also officially China adopted this policy. Turkey is dominantly is a Muslim country, depending on Muslim majority, under the Republic of Turkey with a secular democratic structure. In that matter, also the Turkish culture is a mixture of the Turkishness from Central Asia, Islam from the Middle East, and Western values and identities from Europe or from the Western world. It is a mixture in that matter, but we can say that is a relation between Confucius and Muslim dominant cultures for analyzing the Sino-Turkish relationship in that matter. And also Turkey formed another public cultural institution under the name of Yunus Emre Institute. Yunus Emre was the Sufi dervish living in the 13th century. So then they focus on the Confucius and also Yunus Emre Sufism, representing culture of Turkey and China together. When we look at the cooperation areas between Turkey and China, economy is the main pillar, of course, because since the Deng Xiaoping reforms and opening and development process since the late 1970s, China has a very steady and rapid growth between 8 to 10% almost each year. China has become increasingly important economic hub. So when Turkey and China established official relationship in 1971, the main focus for Turkey to attract Chinese relationship was the economy, and then Chinese economy is always attractive for Turkey's leaders and Turkish economic business community here in Turkey. So then keeping a very close economic relationship is the main pillar. For Chinese side, of course, Turkey's economy is relatively smaller than, or today much more smaller than China. But Turkey sits in a very geostrategic and geoeconomic position to provide some benefits for China as an economic hub to reach the Middle East market, Black Sea market, Eastern European market, or Mediterranean market. Or Turkey has some leverages in Eurasia, the Black Sea zone, the Southern Caucasus, and Central Asia, because of its cultural and ethnic ties with those countries. So in that matter, also Turkey is attractive for China, but particularly after the declaration of the Belt Road Initiative in 2013, Turkey has become main intersection of the Belt Road projects of China, basically sitting on the very strategic location for overland Silk Road. So under the Belt Road initiation, also Turkey has become important hub for Chinese economic initiatives in the region, for Turkey's region. The other thing, we talk about the Cold War dynamics and post-Cold War dynamics. Turkey closely associated with the United States, and without Sino-American normalization in early 70s, Turkey never recognized People's Republic of China as the sole representative of China. So then Turkey recognized only Republic of China in Taiwan. So after the Sino-Soviet normalization, Turkey recognized PRC and moved its embassy from Taipei to Beijing. So this is another thing. But after 2017, if Turkey has some problems or had some problems in the past, or if there is a democratic backsliding in Turkey, the Turkish leaders went to use China as a leverage, political leverage, against its Western allies. So this is the new things, and also there are some terms. Basically, just after the 1980 coup, military coup, 1998, 1997 indirect military intervention, and after the 2016 coup attempt. So then some political leaders and some governments tried to develop a close relationship with Beijing to keep a balance against Western countries. This is another thing, another development in that sense. And recently also, basically since 2016, there is an increasing Eurasianism tendency and anti-West tendency in Turkey's foreign policy. So it has become more vibrant issue, both in Turkey and internationally in that regard. I think also, of course, we need to touch the issues, two hot issues between Turkey and China, between Ankara and Beijing. The main issue between Ankara and Beijing is the Uyghur case. Ankara wants to develop the Uyghurs as a people, as a bridge of friendship between two countries. And the Chinese side was very eager to accept this story in the 70s and basically in the 80s. But after time being, it has become realized that Uyghur case or Uyghur people have become a barrier rather than a bridge between the two countries. Even today, this is a very difficult issue between Ankara and Beijing, how they can handle, and it is a poisoning effect the bilateral relationship. The other issue is the Taiwan, of course. After the closure of its embassy, Turkey and Taiwan exchanged diplomatic representations in late 80s and early 90s, just after the Tiananmen Square incident. So there is an increasing economic partnership between Turkey and Taiwan. And Beijing is closely following, has been closely following the relationship between Turkey and Taiwan, the status and other things. Of course, Turkey officially recognizes only PRC as a one China principle, but Turkey is under strict surveillance for its relationship with Taiwan. So there are some, not big crises, but there are some troubles because of the relationship level between Ankara and Taipei in recent years. This is another thing, we need to focus on that. And we can say that the relationship is very dynamic. From the beginning, there are politically and economically, there are very high expectations, but also there are some unexpected troubles and problems, basically because of the Uyghur issue. But on the other, we cannot say that those high expectations cannot be fulfilled or cannot be carried out in the recent years. For example, when we look at the strategic cooperation agreement in 2010, signed by the two prime ministers, Prime Minister Erdogan and Prime Minister Wen Jiabao, they put some targets, for example, in 28 for bilateral trade volume. They targeted to reach $50 billion by 2015 and $100 billion by 2020. But when we look at the real figures for last year, the trade volume was around only 26 billion US dollar, and there was no increase in the bilateral trade since 2012, after reaching the 28 billion US dollar. In that matter, we can see some setbacks for economic cooperations, and we can see some limitations also in that matter. And the trouble for Turkey for its trade relationship with China, Turkey has a huge negative deficit with its trade with China. Almost 80% of Sino-Turkish trade is consisted by Chinese export to Turkey. In that matter, there are some also problems in the economic side. So maybe I can stop here, then depending on questions, we can discuss the other issues or details. you.